Well, that manhunt is still happening as we speak as police search several areas right now. We're starting with Michelle Beck, who is at one of the scenes in Minneapolis with some stunning information at a home where the suspect presumably lived part-time. Michelle?
Now, Julie, these last 5 minutes have been so incredibly emotional here. In those last 5 minutes, David Carlson, who says he was Vance Bolter's best friend, has known him since 4th grade, one of his two best friends. He was sitting here right on these front steps reading the very last text message from Vance Bolter he received in the 6 o'clock hour, 6 a.m. this morning. I'm going to read some of the words, and he read aloud in tears that text message, and I'll read you some of those words minus some of the filler words. He said, "I'm gonna be gone for a while." Again, these are the words of Vance Bolter. "I may be dead shortly, so I just want to let you know, I wish it hadn't gone this way. I don't want to say anything more. You guys don't know anything about this. I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused." Again, this was David Carlson reading aloud to members of the media, including us right here, telling us the very last text message he received from his best friend, Vance Bolter, in the 6 a.m. hour. Now, take a look at the scene here behind me. You see his roommate, again, David Carlson, who was reading that text message. His best friend also lives here in this house with Vance Bolter. He and another roommate corroborated that Vance Bolter lived in this home just a couple times in the week, his other home being in Green Isle. He had some jobs here in the Twin Cities, and so that's why he was here. In fact, actually, this room on the right, you see somebody inside there right now. There's a cat tower in the front. The window's clearly busted out. That is the room where Vance Bolter lived. David Carlson, his roommate, went inside for us when I asked him, hey, can you show us that book he wrote? Apparently he had written a book about the church and that overall he was a very good guy. His roommates, his friend, clearly just dumbfounded at the events that have happened today and the events that are now being linked to their roommate. David Carlson could not walk out with any book that he was talking about, and that was because police had already come and gone, and they had taken a lot of his items, presumably as evidence. And you can see some people walking inside right now as we speak here. We even asked about Mr. Bolter's political affiliations, and David Carlson, once again his roommate and best friend, known him since 4th grade, did say Bolter voted for Trump and that he was a strong supporter, but he hasn't really talked about politics lately. And from what his friend knew, he had no idea that Bolter was interested at all in local or state lawmakers as well. His friend didn't even know the names of the lawmakers who were attacked today. He had no idea, the friend had no idea of Bolter even going to the state capitol. Once again, he never talked about state lawmakers. And that is some of the political affiliations that he told us about. Although he did have some ties in the Congo, apparently he flew out to D.C. to meet with an official from the Congo. Guys, back to you.
That is breaking news. So much of what you've said is breaking news. And of course, we want to attribute it all to his roommate in that house. We know that the roommates in the house, from your reporting earlier, said that Bolter stopped by the home about 6:30 in the morning. Can you walk us through when roommates became aware that there was a very serious situation underway and whether or not they saw Vance Bolter today at any point?
So David Carlson, he told me that when he last heard from Bolter was last night, actually. He heard his voice last night after he came back from work. They were speaking from between the doors, presumably. Bolter was inside his room, once again, this corner here behind me. This morning, though, fast forwarding to this morning around 6:30 a.m., the roommates woke up. They noticed behind his home, his car was there. It's now been towed, but there was a car there. The passenger door window smashed. I actually even saw the glass on the ground. It's still sitting there. They noticed that the passenger door window is smashed. They tried reaching out to him, hadn't heard from him. They also hadn't heard from his wife either. And then around that time, as fears and concerns were growing, they had received that, again, ominous text. David had received that ominous text from his friend Vance, and fearing that he might harm himself. That is why David says he called police. He reached out to police, Julie.
All right. There's a lot of insight you provided tonight, Michelle. We appreciate your great work on scene there. We'll be checking back in throughout the night. Thank you so much, Michelle.